Okay, we'd like to welcome everybody to the IMU Board of Trustees of the Electric, Water, and Communication Utilities for February 12th. Monica, roll call, please.
Yes. Selgrade.
Present.
Smith.
Present.
White.
Present.
Rosga.
Yes.
Voights. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment. And anybody want to say anything? Seeing none and hearing none. So the, what? Okay. So we'll move on then. I'll need a first and second motion to approve the consent agenda for discussion.
So, second.
Okay, we'll start with the approval of claims. Anybody have any questions on claims? Yes? Did you have something? Oh, I thought you were getting ready to say something. Okay. Approval of minutes. Can we approve them all together? Okay. Approval of minutes. Anybody have any questions or corrections you want to? Okay. And then the December 2023 financial report.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
here I am.
Here you are. And it's good to have you.
Thank you. Trustees, the report is for the 6 months ending December 31st of 2022. And Chris says in the notes that it is a modified report. And I would say that generally, in the fund, if the revenues are 50% or more, that's good. And if the expenses are 50% or less, that's good. And generally, just looking at them, they're pretty much in line. And I know in those capital funds, it's just depends on the timing of what you do here, there, or whatever. And I don't know that really, we can really top in my mind, like I said, revenue and expenses. So that would be my report. 52 in person, but 50
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, you have to speak to the format on the phone.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, we did. So we just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. We were showing the depreciation separately. We've kind of condensed that a little bit so that the total expenses and depreciation total, when you look at the revenue and then look at the depreciation and expense totals and you look at the net position, that makes a little bit more sense. And then also we moved the percent comparison, percent to budget, moved that up to the applicable line items. So it is excluding depreciation because we don't budget for depreciation. So it just makes it a little bit cleaner and maybe a little easier to read, but certainly open to any further feedback that you guys might have.
So it can go slow with the change.
Right.
Well, then I would take a first and a second to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Roll call. Yes. Thanks. White. Yes. Smith. Yes. Roscoe.
Yes.
Boyd.
Yes.
Silver.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on now to electric utility action items. And we've got a public hearing to open for letting for downtown underground conversion project, South Alley premise wire modification. Do you want to discuss anything about it, or, oh, I guess I need to. Second?
Second.
I'm asking, not telling.
I don't know.
It wasn't an ask, it was a tell. Okay, so, would you like to say anything regarding that?
Just, this will be the project that we brought forth here about a month ago, talking about the south side of the alley, where we've got about 14 premises that we're gonna convert from overhead to underground. So, kind of the basic
Okay.
project.
All right, so, does anyone in the audience want to say anything? Hearing none, I will now close the public hearing. And I need a motion, first and second, to do that, please.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go on to the resolution 2024-004, approving construction contracts and bonds for South Alley premise wiring modification project. Motion?
So moved.
Okay. Any discussion before I have
Did we do B? Or?
Oh. I was told to do that one after we approve this.
No,
No.
open, yeah.
You want to do both of those?
Both, please,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't make that super clear.
Okay, then also we will do the resolution for 2024-005, accepting the HPI T&M proposal 24-43032 for the critical minor inspection of 27 NW Alstom generator. Motion, or was that with that? Did we approve that?
I think you were supposed to read B. Yeah.
We haven't voted.
I think you have the wrong.
Yeah.
Do I
Here we
have the
go.
wrong?
Yep.
Oh. Oh. Well, that would. Oh, here, I've got another one here. Sorry. I'm not doing very well.
So have we first and second on B?
Page 2B.
She had printed off the wrong one.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, it's probably the first one that you sent out.
Yeah. So you have the.
Okay. So you want me to do what now, Monica?
We're going to go ahead and reintroduce B,
Oh.
the first and second for 2024-004.
Oh, okay.
And we've already got a first and second for that one, so if you just want to reread it, we will
Okay.
discuss and vote.
Resolution for the 2024-004, adopting plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost for South Alley premise wiring modification project. Okay. Now, are we ready? Discussion? Okay.
Yep, so this will be, the bids that we got back were really, really good. Miller Electric was $92,220. Local contractor, feel real confident with their ability to do the project, so would recommend that they do the project.
Did we have any other bids as well?
Yeah, we did. Baker was $108,000, Tri-City was just over $114,000, and then Van Manen was just a little over $188,000.
Big spread, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice that the local contractor.
Yeah, for sure. Like I say, I don't know the estimate Al noted in the deal. We used $156,000. I think a lot of that just has to do with today's. Just don't know where people are going to be at with material prices and that. Now, I will say we feel like this contract probably will get extended just because of the lead time. Talking with them as far as getting materials, which we knew that going into it. So.
Well, and he said somewhere in where he said he was going to see if he could find substitutes. Is that?
Yep, we're working to try and find substitutes and allow those. Yep.
Okay. So, roll call, Monica?
Yes. Voight.
Yes.
Selgrade.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Braska.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the electric utility informational items.
No,
So
we're on
we have
C.
to approve C and D. Oh, we're doing, that was just for the first one.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. No worries, this is confusing.
for
Okay,
one.
so on to C, the resolution for 2024-005, awarding construction contracts and bonds for South Alley premise wiring modification project. We do need, okay,
Second.
okay. Any discussion?
Nothing else beyond that. I pretty much kind of covered a lot of that. Yep.
Okay, Monica?
All right. White,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Rosca,
Yes.
Voigt,
Yes.
Celebrate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll do the resolution for 2024-006, accepting HPI T&M proposal 24-43032 for the critical minor inspection of 27 MW Alstom generator.
I'll start out with this one and then ask any important questions of Mike. What we're doing here in the resolution, we've got approving a contract for $165,000. That's actually recently changed and modified up a little bit based upon some more information we requested and some of those optional tools that we needed for them to provide. So we're approving both that proposal and more specifically, just given the timing and construction on this one, our insurance deductible is $350,000. So we are also asking for my approval to continue this process through up to and including the $350,000 insurance deductible. It is moving quick. I think we'll have people on site, and there'll be a point where we're going to have to make some quick decisions. And again, this is all just kind of tear down and inspection. It doesn't get into repair, so I think we're easily going to get up into there before this is all said and done, and just wanted to make sure we don't have to have any special meetings when there's time is of the essence.
Have we talked to the insurance company yet?
Yeah, they were involved. We actually had a member from their forensics team or a consultant that they have kind of brought them up to speed on everything that we've been through so far. They were on board and agreed that everything we've done thus far is correct. And they did ask some questions about could you get a second vendor in here? And I think our engineer thought we could probably get a second quote. He wasn't sure if he could get a third quote type of situation. However, this company, their reputation and who they are, he doesn't have an issue with those, and understands that time is of the essence. You can't shop everything all the time, and he thought this was a good choice.
He being the insurance company.
Yeah, not a representative of the insurance company, but a consultant for. They didn't have any concern on where we've been thus far, either what we've done or who we've contracted to do it with. They are.
That documented someplace in case we need to say that they're reviewed by a member of the consulting team.
I mean, we had the meeting and provided them all the information. I know they were in consultation because after the forensics gentleman was there, the team had some more information that they'd requested, so we know there's a communication sharing there, and that included these things like the HPI contract and. That's certainly something we can pursue.
So how soon do you think they'll be coming then?
They
Are they
start
here?
mobilizing tomorrow. No, they're not here. They'll they need to know like right now,
Yeah.
and able to make this work, because I think there's some future scheduling coming up. They're going to be hitting what they call their busy season, starting here within the next 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
From a financial incentive, does it behoove us at all to, I understand the time thing and so on and so forth, but at the same time, we learned about this in our last meeting, so 2 weeks have gone by. Have we spoke to anybody else? Who else does this kind of stuff?
We've been working pretty closely with our engineer, and he's made several contacts to other people,
Talking
Try-
about Al?
What's that?
Talking about Al?
Jared. He's now in place of Al.
He's the new Al?
He's kind of our new Al on the turbine side of things. Yeah, and Jared's very knowledgeable. Jared's the one that may remember when, as part of our turbinate control project we're working on, Jared's leading that from P&E standpoint.
Okay, roll call?
Yes. I need a first and second motion, please.
Can I just ask you a clarification? So you're asking for authorization not only up to 350, but above 350, because that would be covered by insurance above that? Yeah, for right now, to get us up to the insurance company where they'd be taking over, we'll start the repair, and, ultimately the request is for up to the 350 where the insurance company would take over. They would be making, the decisions in consultation with us, but, after it becomes an insured event and we hit our deductible. So you'll only need authorization on the 350. Yeah. Clarify that.
And is it considered a event, or?
Yes.
So we would revisit something if we need to do another instance that we have to.
Yeah. And we can have that discussion, maybe a little strategically just about, this type of, new thresholds for the future. But for now, this is the fire, and we're just looking to solve that and get this taken care of.
Okay, first and second motion?
Second?
Okay, roll call?
Yes. Voits.
Yes.
Selgrade.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Roscoe.
Yes.
Thank you.
So they're gonna mobilize tomorrow and get here when?
Possibly, I'd have to double check with them. I would say within the next 24 to 48 hours they'll be on site.
Okay. If you could just keep it a surprise, please.
You bet.
Okay, electric utility informational items.
Yeah, besides the two things we just went over, we've got
Budget.
yeah, no, but, kind of give you an update on turbinate controls. Those are going well as far as, we're still moving forward. Factory acceptance testing, we'll be sending Nate down there here in a couple weeks to do that. Like I say, our hope is that turbinate is back together and it's operational, so when they come on site, they can commission it. We still don't know that yet, if they'll have to remobilize or not. But that's kind of the update on turbinate controls. West Iowa substation, that's the one where we had the fault earlier this year. We've got pretty much all the parts there. What we're down to now is some CTs. It's a current reading device inside there. We are actually now on a national search. I've asked our state IAMU. They sent it out today to go to all of the utilities here within the state of Iowa, and then he forwarded that on to the APPA, who will then send it out nationally to all utilities within the United States, on municipal utilities within the United States, with our information and what we're looking for. So hopefully we can find something to keep that moving forward.
Mike, what if we can't?
Well, if we can't, that's going to be, right now, not to get into a ton of detail with it, but the ratio of these CTs are 400 to 5. And if we...
I don't understand what that means.
Yep.
Do I need to?
No, not really. But the reason I'm saying that is, if I can't find that 400 to 5, and we think we can find some 600 to 5s, the problem is our metering changes, our relays change. It changes a ton of stuff inside there, inside of that.
Okay.
Makes it a wow. So,
Do you feel confident that somewhere in the country somebody has?
I'm hopeful we can. It's just the timing of what it's going to take to get it.
Yeah.
Well, there's no guarantee that next time that happens that we'll find the 605. We're just dealing with old equipment and trying to find it. The sad thing is did we probably, when we decommissioned one of these other 4 kV subs, did we have one? Probably, but it's one of those deals, do we save a whole substation sitting somewhere in case we need it? And yeah, type of thing, so anyway, we'll, yeah, we're definitely looking at it, and we've got resources trying to help us track those down as well. We are back out in the field now. We're into week 2. Since the weather's turned nice, it's really good. I'm excited, actually, that we need the head start as much work as we've got coming up this year. So, boring, if somebody told me we'd be taking these brand new bore rigs and boring in February the first year, I'd be like, there's no way. But here we are. And then job postings, giving an update on that. We had the 2 apprentices positions. We did have one of our generation metering techs bid in to move up to apprenticeship, and we did promote him to that. So now we have his position that we'll have to fill back. And then we've got one more to fill in that. We've got some really good applicants, I think. Guys that's been to school type of thing, that we'll work through those and hopefully be doing interviews soon. And then we had that vacant meter tech, generation metering tech position that we filled within, and we did do that this last week. One of our guys moved him up, Kevin Marmon. So other than that,
Is that all?
that's it.
Been kind of a quiet couple, 3 weeks, hasn't it?
It's not been bad.
Okay, thank you. Water utility informational items.
Yeah, we've been able to take advantage of some of the nice weather as well. We got all of our tank cleaning is complete. 2 of those tanks are outside, so we were able to use the nice weather to take care of that. We are working on running a new drain line down to our lime lagoons. We started that last week. Hopefully we'll get it finished up this week. Plant upgrades were scheduled to start for this week, but the contractor fell behind on another job, so hopefully, fingers crossed, they will be here the start of next week to start upgrades, and they're planning on being here probably a month or so with just the amount of upgrades we have going on. And then with that, a couple weeks ago, we had a bad stretch of main breaks, so we will start restoration on those. So we have a busy couple weeks.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, communications, utility action items. Resolution for 2024-007 to approve change order number 1 and accept the Telefiber Transport Network West to IMU project.
So moved.
Okay, any discussion or anything on it?
A little review, yeah, this is the one and only changeover that you'll see coming for the entire project. Vast majority of this was the cause of rerouting over by Beach to get around UP's railroad tracks over there. That's about 2/3 of the cost. Total cost on the change order is $105,199.79, of which we're splitting that in half with Pella. So we're at 52,599.90 or 0.89, depending on how they split that last penny. So.
Fight tooth and nail.
Right, exactly. So, but overall, you know, for as many miles as we put in, I was pleased with this, and we were in DOT right away a lot of times, so I was surprised that there actually wasn't more changes that we needed. So I was pleased that when we saw this final number. So.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or anything? Okay. Monica?
Yes. Voight.
Yes.
Selgrade.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Rosca.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now the communications utility informational items.
Yep, I'm kind of the same way. We've shifted back outside, doing outside work. Contractors in town putting conduit in. So good news is we shouldn't have very many temps on the ground come March, assuming the weather holds for another couple weeks. So that'll be nice. The bad news is locates are coming in at a much quicker rate now. So I mean, I went back just to look last year. We had 56 locates total in February, and we hit 56 locates on Sunday. So that's just how much, and a lot of those are ours, but there are other people doing stuff out there too. So
Are all those, are those for new installs, or is there other stuff mixed in there also?
on those locates, there's
Yeah.
other stuff too. Yeah, I think We called in 20-some for us, so we had 20-some temps on the ground, so yeah. So a lot of people out there trying to get early start on stuff. So we'll see what that kind of evens out in March, April when we see the big spike, but we'll see. Other than that, business as usual.
Saw you cross 4,000 customers.
Yeah, we did, so, nice number to hit, so.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, then we'll go to combined electric, water, and communications action items. Discussion and direction on additional investment in Brookings Transmission Project.
All right, so, as you may or may not be aware, IMU has some capital investment that was made as part of about 20 other Iowa utilities. So we do have an ownership stake in some transmission line that extends from central Iowa into southern Minnesota. It's the Brookings transmission line is the specific project, but you've seen reference to CMPAS or our CapEx investment. Those are kind of all the same concept. They are doing an improvement, a quite large improvement with Xcel Energy, the original, larger partner in this one, or in the last one. They are adding some additional capacity, putting a second set of lines across for everything, functionally doubling that capacity. They have asked us if we want to continue or add additional investment into that. Out of the original $32 million project, we were 3.35%. And if you take this with the additional $2 million investment what their ask is for approximately $70,000 of additional investment, and that would add capacity to this existing transmission line. As for the project itself is just recently kind of even become non-confidential to talk about, and we're bringing it forward. So I haven't seen any business cases or financial analysis information specific to this additional project, but I thought what I would share is out of our original $1 million investment, we get about $15,000 worth of cash on an annual basis.
Say that again, Chris?
Out of our original approximately $1 million investment, we get about $15,000 of cash on an annual basis in the form of return. The rest of that is 1.5. The rest of that is, they pay for a lot of debt service, and the project incurred a lot of debt. Thanks. And in that spirit, we have a group that does administer for that. I just wanted to get a feel for, in that $70,000 range, what is your comfort level and what is your expectation? Is this something you guys want to pursue, where I can try to gather more information, or, are we good where we're at and have plenty of capital needs internally where we'd rather focus this dollars?
My understanding is this was an investment that was made some time ago.
Yeah, 2006 timeframe.
I don't know what to say this. Have the monies we've received from this always been that poor?
They've been pretty consistent. I mean, they vary a couple of $1,000s every year, but in that range. And ultimately, the original.
What was our expectation? Of course, we weren't even here. Do we have any idea what the expectation was at that time?
I haven't seen what the original expectations were. I know this project, or our current investment, was really geared towards there's 40 years worth of debt on this, and a lot of the money goes to debt service. And after that 40-year mark, all that revenue becomes, community property. So, or maybe community property isn't subject to distribution. But, it's where a lot of that revenue is first reserve for debt service, and once that's paid for, I don't want to use the word windfall, but it does, at 40 years, there's going to be quite an enhanced cash flow out of what we currently have.
The returns are backwardated.
Yeah. So I think what we've got going on here is a similar expectation. I think there would be, probably those more minor returns on the front end and with much larger returns on the back end. I don't have a whole lot more in the way of details, and this would be something we need to pursue, but just want to gauge your interest.
Is there a downside? I'm sorry.
Do you expect more details like a business plan?
I mean, I think they have to exist, and they just haven't been made available to us yet, as the project just a few days ago became an IUB register. Like Wednesday of our board packet, I was able to release the executive summary, and if it would have been one more day, I wouldn't have been able to even have more specifics of the project.
When do they need to come in? Is there a timeline? We're hoping to have funds or funding in the first quarter. At this point, I think, they're probably wanting dollars or commitments by March, or end of March.
So is there a downside to say no?
If we don't, there's a couple of large investors, Xcel Energy being one. I think if we say no to this, I'm positive Xcel Energy will take the rest of the share, and if we did say no, our equity would be diluted a little bit by that $2 million that somebody else put in. So our 3.35% equity would be diluted another 3%, not in whole dollars, but 3% up to 3.35 cents. So, kind of a minor change, but it would be otherwise diluted a little.
Well, we'd have to put in $70,000 upfront right here.
Yep. And that 70,000 would maintain our current level of equity in the project.
I just don't see the value. I don't know that I would pursue this real strong.
See the upside. It feels like the capital is better invested in our project work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we certainly have got our own needs at home, so there's definitely, I think it's reasonable to want to address our current needs more closely with this dollars. I can, certainly pass that information on to them and see if they've got any other thoughts or comments that they want to get to the board.
That's where I would be too, absolutely. But I if there is more information, if there's a business plan, I think it feels like we just don't have all the information to make a full decision.
Yeah, I think, the way this came down is, very quick, and certainly if I can get some more information, I'll let them know that would be kind of that business plan or returns or all of that would be necessary to move it beyond this discussion.
So do we need a vote on that to formally say yes or no?
No, this was just direction. I can indicate their want for more, or if I'm interpreting Adam's comment as the collective, we're not saying no positively, but for us to say yes, you'd need more information, such as the business plans.
So the information would have to come quick for us.
Yep.
Well, but every other utility that invests in this would be in the same boat that we are. I don't think people are just going to throw money in there. So show those kind of returns.
Okay.
Nope, I have everything I need, and we can move on to the fun of the budget.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
Okay. We'll move to combined electric, water, and communications informational items. Fiscal year 2025 budget discussion.
All right, well, Chris and I had some good conversations with a number of you. First, as you've reviewed any of those information that's been presented thus far, do you have any questions or comments, areas of concern, or I can?
My only comment was I appreciated the time to walk through it and help answer the questions, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, compliment to Chris and the rest of the team there. I do think what we've got thus far is a really good budget. And part of what we'll discuss is this information in front of you there. It's not typical that, particularly in a high inflationary market, that we'll have options. But what I wanted to start off this discussion, we can say, the fiber revenues, with the exception of video, we do expect a video increase. We've talked about a little bit in case that's natural in that market. Water, we're waiting for a little bit more information, but we think we have a workable solution where we remain competitive and can continue our capital investment. But most kind of informational or pressing is the information in this sheet. I've got a couple different scenarios on the electric. With the electric budget, I think what is unusual, the budget, even though we were subject to about a 10% or the 10% increase is a combination of our 7% wholesale transmission going up 17%, and there's a little bit of weather normalization. In the prior year, we were down about 3.5%, 4% over the summer for electric. So what's implicit in this one is a kind of renormalizing, or this is a weather neutral budget. Obviously, if it's a really hot summer, those budget expectations would change. If it's a really cold summer, cool summer, mild summer, they would be revised down. But we try to take a seasonal, weather neutral approach to that. So we had a 10% wholesale rate increase, but with that, for a number of reasons, you'll see on the first page, and the first page here doesn't have any rate growth factor in it. That's the one that I'm looking at. You'll see that even without any rate increases, we're in good shape for the year. Now, this is kind of for a couple of reasons.
Chris, can you pause there and explain why you say that? When you say we're in good shape for the year, explain why you say that.
Without any rate increases, we do have growth in our fund balance. So, I mean, we have cash.
So you're looking at the line just below the green.
Yep, that line just below the green. We're showing a, positive return, positive cash, being a cash increase, even without any rate increases.
But really just for 26, right?
Yeah, and that's 25, and that extends into 26. For 25, I would probably attribute a lot of that change to, a capital decrease. Last year we had $2.8 million, almost $2.9 million worth of capital improvements. It's right at $2 million this year, so that, ultimately that decrease, if not for that decrease in capital, we wouldn't have the increase in cash. That is, again, that will change over time. That will start to increase. So we can't count on that low level of capital investment for the future. And then next year there's one other item that's providing us quite a bit of relief. Our debt service is going from $1.1 million to $731,000. That's that next section up here.
Where's that, Chris?
Right here, the
debt service, existing electric debt service.
Debt service. So you'll see that change is responsible for any positive, or the debt service going down is responsible for the positive.
Does that just happen to be what the debt schedule?
Yeah, that was the that was the debt schedule, forecasted, the debt was taken out So again, there's not a critical need for that, you know, but it was a one-time. Now that one is sustained from there on out, but the capital spending is really one-time, and that'll start to grow as our bore crews, you know, we get a feel from what they can accomplish. So all that to say, we don't have a pressing need. We can afford not to raise rates this year on the electric, but you may wish to consider to do so because between this year and next year, like I said, we had a 7% wholesale increase this year. That was kind of done at the mean side. We negotiated that down. They were looking for something a little closer to 9%, and the 7% was a bit of compromise to smooth it out. So we have pushed some rate pressure into next year out of that board decision. And so while right now I'm forecasting another 7% wholesale change, you know, the market does remain volatile, and then that certainly could change between now and next year, you know.
Chris, can you explain that? So up under purchase energy, you keep talking about a 7%, but you have 10% there?
Yeah.
Explain that.
That was the 10% is a weighted combination of the 7% wholesale, the 17% transmission, and the seasonal kind of adjustment, trying to weather normalize things.
Thank you.
So Chris, can you explain or remind me at least on the days of cash on hand? It looks like that varies a little bit in some of the scenarios you've got here. What's our goal that we want to stay at?
Our minimum in this case is 110 days or 120 days, and that is derived from our rate recommendation, the expectation that we have that level of cash to maintain a A-minus rating. So in the short term, we talked a little bit about the two activities, you know, that are most responsible for that, the 25 budget year and the 26 positive. You know, those really are one time, and those will change. But without doing anything on the first page, if you look at those, you know, by 27, 28, 29, 30s, the cash position starts to get whittled away pretty aggressively if we take no action. On the second page, you'll have all the same information, with the exception of you know, as an example, a 5% rate increase in 26 and 28. You know, again, that 5% could be split, if you guys wanted to take action this year, you know, maybe make that a little more mild of, you know, 2.5 in each year as an example, to get a head start, or if we wanted to wait, that's what really this example shows. The difference between the two really is the additional collection this year gets added the way across. As you see on those out years, those last 4 years, the 27, 28, 29, and 30, you'll see that cash position starts to oscillate a little, and that's kind of what we're looking for. There's not large decreases when there are decreases, and they're offset the next year by a smaller increase. And certainly, you know, we're starting to get out to 2030 where, you know, it does get a little more unpredictable. But just as an example, you know, what a 5% level would do. I have included one more example, and just as the example of where, you know, at this point, I think maybe it's a little too much at that 6% at those levels. You see all the years end up being a positive cash balance, and that continues to increase out to 2030. And so that's just kind of there to show maybe based upon these expectations that, you know, 6% might be structured a little too high for the long run.
Hey, Chris, how come in the second and third scenarios, the debt service is different?
It's probably a bad transfer.
Okay. So it's just an error.
Yeah.
Does that affect the spreadsheet then?
It would make the numbers look even better in the
Yeah.
storage scenario.
So if we don't move forward in this first scenario, as it lays out, what would we be able to do?
In the short term for next year, it wouldn't change anything that we do. Alls that would happen is in next year and in subsequent years, eventually we'll get to a point where we do need to have a rate increase and, where we might be talking about 2.5 right now, as we wait longer, those rate increases to catch up would be larger out in the future.
So it's not that we wouldn't be able to proceed this year. It's next year we would have and when we haven't had a rate increase for a while, we'll have the rate increase at a higher percentage next year to really net out the
Yeah,
what we have.
there'll be a little bit of a catch-up provision to,
And when was the last time we had a rate increase here?
it was 2 years ago. So we had been kind of going on a every other year rate increase, and they've been generally mild. This
When you
year,
say mild, what percentage?
our last one was 3.9%.
Exactly what year was that?
It would have been in 20, the actuals for 23. Yeah.
Chris, do you have an idea of what a 5, for an average household, but maybe there isn't such a thing? What does this mean to the consumer from that perspective also? Is that gonna be, that's probably not gonna be a super huge shock, whether we do 2.5, or just wait and do 5%.
Yeah, I don't think, it's quite common to have, $50, the electric portion of your bill during the winter, being $50, $60, $70. I mean, I think there's certainly probably 50 for more apartments, maybe up to 70 in a house. They get up to, I don't know, Alicia, do you have what's a fair average house in the summer? Yeah.
So 5% increase, we're talking $6, $7.
Yeah. So we could sit right now and do nothing, and then make a decision next year on whether we go with 5% next year, which, if 5% next year is, we say $5, $6, $7. But we don't push them this year, correct?
Yep, we can definitely afford that.
Well, the one thing that we don't know is that, we're kind of counting on normalization of weather. Maybe that doesn't happen. So there's a little risk there also.
I also push Chris on the 7% from me. I mean, that's what they're expecting, but that's not for sure.
Yeah, so the mean board voted for the 7% increase here, which, like I said earlier, was kind of the compromise down from 9. So, with the math or expectations, what they wanted between the 2 years in their expectations, kind of imputed an understanding of that would be another 7%. But the market is volatile. It could be 0 and it could be 15, frankly. So 7% is probably our working best estimate.
We should probably anticipate at least 7%, is what I'm hearing you say.
With the volatility in the market, that is the unfortunate side effect. There's, lots of constraints and capacity constraints and transmission, and that with volatility, you can read that into price variation, and, the lows get lower, but the highs get a lot higher.
So what are you looking for from
you know, is there you know, is there an appetite to, you know, maybe one, leave the rates alone? Is there an appetite to maybe try to hedge our bets, knowing that there's a lot of other utilities that are increasing their rates and you know, which means they've got negative expectations in the future. You know, ultimately a little bit of direction on, should we think about the future, or are we comfortable with the level and cash position for the current year, and we can take the wait and see approach? You know, one of those two you know, scenarios.
So if you don't do anything this year, what, say again, what you would, expect to do next year for, you would increase next year? So
Yeah.
what would you expect? Say that again.
With a not a huge level of confidence, right now my estimates are 5%.
And, but that's really a 5% for, would we do that March of 26?
20. You know, we do it in 25 for the 26, you know, to cover the 26 fiscal year.
Okay. So you've got 5% of the 26 column, but you would do that 5% in March of 25.
Yeah, somewhere between March and July, to hit to start the fiscal year.
My preference is wait and see. No increase right now, and wait and see. And if we need to do the 5%, we can do the 5% next year rather than 2.5 and 2.5. That's me.
In other words, no increase in
This month.
between like March to July 24.
Or 25.
Wait to do something March to July 25.
That's my preference.
I'm still,
Yeah,
If we're pretty confident that we would be in that 5 to 6 range, I support that as well. If we get higher than that, it makes me nervous that we go after the consumer with bigger increase. It's probably half a dozen one way, 6 the other. I mean, it feels like there's a lot of increase going on right now for our customers, so it's all in the secret money.
Yeah, ultimately, you know, as you noticed, something will need to be done eventually, just given the market that we're in. You know, we can afford to forego it, but we are counting on, you know, we've got another year's worth of variation that, you know, could that move that number up and down. And, you know, while it looks like 5 now, you know, 6%, 7% are not unrealistic either. You know, just as an example, you know, Alliant Energy has already committed for the next 2 years a rate increase. They're doing an 8% this year and 7%, you know, next year. You know, so that's what they foresee the market's looking like.
And the rates are pretty consistent with ours right now.
Their rates are much higher than ours. Yeah.
So from the consumer point, when we've had raises before in the past, if we've what was the last one? Did you say 6%?
3.9.
3.9. So, but you said it'd be 5% probably next year. Like in the, huh?
5-6%.
But you're looking at probably, if the numbers are like Alicia described, you're probably talking about $5, $6, $7, $8. It's not terrible.
Well, what kind of pushback in the past have you had from people?
You know,
Is there a non-response about it when the
honestly,
last time we raised?
I guess I'd probably throw that over to Alicia.
I'd say we didn't really get a very big response on it.
You didn't?
No. It's almost like they really didn't even, I mean, I'm sure they noticed, but it just wasn't a huge
that was my recollection. I don't think it was.
Yeah. I don't remember any real
A lot
big
of
waves.
pushback.
Mm-mm.
And honestly, I think the weather has more of a role in, you know, any kind of dissatisfaction or, you know, if we have a hot summer, there is no doubt those utility bill, rate increase or not, those utility bills
Right.
will go up.
And that's when we hear it.
And that's when we hear it more than.
I knew that we heard it.
Regardless
Yeah.
of whether we increase rate or
Right.
105, 5.
If you had your way, which way would you go?
There's definitely
What would
reason.
your recommendation be?
There's definitely reason to do both. Just knowing that there's the level of uncertainty increases in the future. You know, I'd probably want to hedge a little bit and do a smaller increase this year. You know, all that being said, but it's definitely not warranted for the year. That would be counting on the rate increases in the future. Although, out of the other hand, I pay these rates too. I don't want any rate increase, unnecessarily or, in anticipation of something.
So you really don't have any firm recommendation then? You can go either way.
Yeah, it's definitely not hard either way. I know something's going to happen in the future because, the way the markets are. Do we want to hedge our bets a little bit or kind of ride this out? That's really what this decision is in the short term.
So I support Dom's recommendation.
Okay.
Or you guys have-
Okay.
Perfect.
So I went back and I looked at our electric cash on hand, and it says 358 days.
Probably getting some capital stuff in there.
Yeah, if you're looking at the financial report, Mike,
Yes.
that would include O&M and capital, and then
Okay.
also what we have reserved for our debt service.
And 110 days is our minimum goal to maintain our A- rating, and we cannot get to an A rating, if I remember correctly, based on us being a utility for the most part of the year.
Yep. Yeah, highly summarized, but, just given where the city is at and we're utility A- kind of is our top, and that's where we've derived that, our goal from, or I guess I say goal being,
Well,
that's
what
where our
Mike
minimum
Maloney
cash
told
on
us,
that.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was for Mike, so.
That's 110 days minimum.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay. So we have, is that the consensus then? Okay. You got what you need, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to summarize, so this has come up in the past about doing a rate study. This essentially is a rate study. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that that's clear to everybody.
I think the helpful piece too is when we get some of the other information, what other cities are doing. So that's probably not part of a study, but more of a comparison. And I know you have that available.
Oh, like a comparison of
Right.
rates with
Mhm.
other,
Right.
yes.
Right, so it's not a specific study, but it gives us a sense for where we're at compared to other cities our size.
Okay.
Well,
So,
you'll correct that.
Yep, and I can send that, I'll correct that quickly and send that back out to you, just so you know
Yep.
where we're sitting.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Other business?
Number 9.
I have something, for once. I did finally update the call log list. This is just what the girls have been tracking throughout the months. Sorry, it's quite a bit of information all in one, but I didn't know if you guys had any questions. I know I just got it to you, but as you can see, our main phone calls are payments and billing questions. They kind of go hand in hand sometimes. They'll call in about a billing question, and then
It'd be a typical billing.
they'd maybe ask like, why is my electric so high, or why is my water so high, or sometimes they might ask about budget billing, which we did just update everybody's budget billing this month and sent out letters, so that was kind of a big project for us. But that's kind of what they'd be asking about.
So they're questions that you're somewhat familiar with how to respond to.
Yep. I don't feel like we've had anything like unusual in the past so many months. One day when we had that pole go down, I looked back to see what the calls were for that 1 hour, within that 1 hour range, and it was 181 calls that came in.
Calling to let you know the pole was down?
Mm-hmm.
Or
They had no
calling
power,
question?
just no power. Mm-hmm.
So each one of these items, though, could be multiple
No.
items on one call?
No, sorry, I probably misspoke on that. No, usually it's what they ask about first. A lot of times we'll mark it, and then they might have another question after that, is what I mean. So sometimes that they might be calling about a billing question, and then they'll just say, hey, while I'm on the phone, can I make a payment? It isn't that we marked both of them. It's just sometimes they can go hand, you know what I mean? We could just do one.
So,
Well, they've got to, they're gonna take care of their business.
Yeah.
so one column
I could just do.
is a total of the number of calls per month?
Yep.
Any chance in the future we can have a total call?
Yeah.
As much as I want to do the math,
Yeah,
I would
that's
fail
okay, yeah.
miserably.
Yeah.
He probably has it over there on his.
Yeah, we can add that.
So it appears, looking at this, overall, our call volume has actually gone down.
Yeah, I would say so. I think a lot of that has to do with, for one, the girls just better explaining stuff, people understanding our bills more. And also, we have had an increase of online bill usage, I feel, within the past year also, so.
Do you have what percentage of our customers take advantage of that? I'm just curious.
I'm not good with percentages, but I
Okay.
know there's we send out about 500 and some emails, I think, if I remember right. It doesn't mean that they all go pay their bill online, but they do have e-bills. And I'd say out of those, there's maybe 20 of them that do still have paper also, but that's not an option anymore to have both.
Do we track
So,
that?
every month I have to send out the list.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been pretty consistent within the last probably, I'd say probably 2 to 3 months.
And I know we have incentive in there to encourage people to do that. I mean, it's not a great amount, but it's a
We've talked
little
about,
bit,
we've
but
talked about upping it, but
I think the more people we can change over to that,
yeah. I feel like we've had more people ask for automatic payments too, to get on auto pay, so. And everybody on budget billing is on auto pay, so.
So this is call logs, how many people come in?
Oh, gosh. I don't know how many people come in.
We don't track that?
No, we don't. Honestly, it kind of depends on the day. I mean, sometimes we can get, and this may not seem like a lot, but 10 or more in a day, sometimes less. It just kind of depends on the time of the month and if people are signing up a lot. Because now that, they can do the application online, so it makes it a lot easier for people to not have to come in and see us as much. But we still have walk-in traffic every day. We definitely have the people that like to get out and just hand us their bill.
Mm-hmm.
So April must be a timeline or March must be a timeline when some assistances end, is
Yep,
that?
that's why he's ending. Yep,
Okay.
April 1st. So we always tend to get a little bit more phone calls and traffic there, so.
That's a little bit off subject, but kind of along the same vein with like the Salvation Army. Have we seen much activity through that?
We don't get a lot through them. I'd say maybe we've had a handful. Yeah. General County, Warren County Assistance, we've had a few more of those, it seems like, in the last 5 months probably. So.
Last year when we were talking with the city about some of the billing and some of the bigger, we talked about recycling being kind of a question, one that gets more questions. Is that still the case?
So actually it kind of goes up and down each month, I feel like. It's hit or miss. I would say that it depends, I think, on how many people are new customers, they call in and want a recycling bin. Or we've had where, for some reason, it just hasn't been picked up for a few times in a row. But we don't pass them along to the city. We always try to email and take care of that. But I think those have went down quite a bit, actually, yeah.
I mean, a lot of the information is online.
Yeah.
I would hope we would tell people that.
Yeah, and we have stuff out in the lobby that when
'Cause
new
I'm somebody that
customers.
forgets to go, so is this the recycling week, or?
Yeah, we give out calendars for it.
I
So.
just run down the street.
Yeah, that's how we do it
If
too.
we're-
Yeah, that's what I do.
Can't
Some
you
of my
look out
neighbors
and
aren't very
see
good.
whether you've got
Yeah.
recycling people out there?
We'll try one.
This is good information.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, other business.
All right, since we last met, I went up to Waverly and met with their board and general manager there, and we discussed our modified service schedule M mean contract. I am planning or working with the attorney to kind of send out the initial information that they sent to their board of trustees, and from that, you know, if you got specific questions that develop out of that. I do have some direction from them that I think, you know, might change or affect our decision. You know, it does look like they've kind of committed to sign, and that's not a promise, and the vote's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. So we'll certainly pass along that official word if and when that does change.
I'm not following you.
Their vote, their board kind of went through this informational presentation, and out of that, they decided, you know, that they're going to sign the modified service schedule M. You know, I think I was going back and forth on that initial decision, and if Waverly does choose to sign that, I think you'll be presented some information about the pros and cons of it, and it really is a close decision. One role that'll probably, you know, might play effect is if Waverly signs, we would be, you know, one of the largest participants that didn't sign, kind of on an island out of ourselves, and so that may play a role in some of the thought process that this was close to a tie.
Dumb question on that. If we don't sign this year, can we sign next year or the year after? Or is there a limitation? Like, will they say no?
I don't think they would say no. There's timelines involved out of all of this, and all the timelines are developed around everyone signing as of April 1st, 2024. That's not to say that if we, you know, want to discuss this further and we don't get out to, you know, May and then decide we're going to sign, they would only ask for it to be retroactive back to April 1st, so there'd be consistent timing for everyone. Now, if we got too far out and maybe in April of 25 wanted to sign, you know, for instance.
So what were their reasonings for, why do you see them moving that direction, I guess?
It was a close enough decision that they thought at least there's a certain level of uncertainty in the original contract, and I think the waiting movement was now we can have a, you know, plan for sure if because there are defined termination dates. Really, yeah. Ultimately, you know, I think that was the.
40 years. No, that's all right. I was just curious. So what I'm hearing you say then is it would maybe give the appearance that we're not team players.
We would be the only one and not a team player. You know, having said that, you know, we've got the information, and Steve Nadel, who is the guy that did a lot of the contract work for us, is any day now we should be kind of having our customized IMU specific kind of informational sharing, where he kind of says current and new and goes down the major topics and points.
Isn't this more of a spreadsheet kind of analysis so we can look at it?
Right, and from that, you know, I hope to garner, if you guys have any specific questions, and one, you know, is this thorough enough information that you think you can make the decision based upon, you know, his writing, or is this, you know, something where maybe you wanted to bring him information. As soon as I get it, I will pass that along. I think he's been working on it for about, since the end of the Waverly one. He was started down the path for us.
Was that a topic of conversation at the last meeting then?
It has been a discussion for the past 3 years. At the November meeting is when the board voted that the contract that we have for us is the official final,
So it's kind of
production.
the word on the street then?
Yes. There's certainly, I think there's a lot of the membership that is happy to be over with. Towns of 500, it's kind of been burdensome to go through a lengthy legal analysis. And so, I think there are a lot of them that are just, this is good enough, I want this to be over with. And there are still a few people, Waverly ourselves, that had some remaining questions, and I think there's a balance, and there probably wouldn't have been a good reason to say no and stick under the old contract, and there's certainly some reasons to say yes to this contract. It's definitely not a easy recommendation. It's a balancing point.
So you think we'll see the analysis done by next meeting then?
I am scheduled. Yeah, I am anticipating that we'll have this, and if that analysis came, my expectation was, Steve Nadel is returning from vacation, and depending on when exactly he returns, he might not be able to make it on the 26th, in which case we have it on that discussion on the 11th. But at least right now, the 26th kind of is our tentative. We'll discuss this date, or at least it'll be a board agenda. If you guys think, we need to have a more lengthy discussion after you read Steve's analysis, we can schedule that, or, if you think you've got all the information you need to make the right choice, we can have that.
I guess I'd just like to get him an answer before the April deadline, so we don't.
Yeah, April is the strong want of a deadline. They've already, they certainly know there's lots of utilities there that just have a once-a-month board meeting, and, if they're getting out the last of the documents and preparing that April 1st might be a tough timing. If their boards want to have that discussion prior to, having the vote, they've already kind of said if it's not in by April 1st, it's not the end of the day, or it's not the end of the world, but they would hope that we would retroactively approve it to April 1st. In order to have
We have all the information. It's just a matter of making a decision on what we want to do.
Yep.
Okay, we'll look for more
Yep, so-
information as it comes through then.
More information to come, and give me your feedback when you get that.
Okay, is that all you got then?
Yep.
Okay, need a first and second motion to adjourn.
So,
All those in favor?
aye.
Thank you, everyone.